Hello there, Saints. This is Frank, and welcome to this week's Sermon Spark Notes. So this past Sunday, we launched a new series that we've entitled The Upside Down. And at its heart, this is a series about the kingdom of God. And as we shared this past Sunday, the seeds of that idea of a king and his kingdom was established in the Old Testament from the very beginning, even in the book of Genesis, where God in his creation, in bringing order out of chaos, in speaking reality into being, exerted his king authority over the world. And then you see, as you continue to read throughout the Old Testament, the hints of God's kingship continuing to come out in the stories of how he established for himself a relationship with Abraham and a promise that from your children will come the great nation that I'm going to rule over. And then in the book of Exodus, to be able to see that great nation being formed out of Egypt, brought into the wilderness, and it's there that God established a nation out of a people. And he gave them laws, and he established for them rulers or leaders that would be his mouthpieces. And then even when the nation of Israel demanded a king, and God gave them kings, God remained the authority even then over the kings. That's why Isaiah refers to God as the King of Kings. And then you see into the New Testament how they're waiting for, after a season of all these corrupt kings and then them taken into captivity, the people are longing for the hope of a coming Messiah who they envisioned would be like a returning or coming king who would establish them as a nation again and reestablish order out of chaos. And so Jesus came in fulfillment of that prophecy, and in so many ways he demonstrated aspects of his kingship, but also gave them a new definition of what authority and service looked like. But that didn't change his identity. Even at the cross, Pontius Pilate identified Jesus as the King of the Jews. And then when you continue to read in the New Testament, there's this constant pointing of hope for when the king would return someday. And in the book of Revelation, it talks about how Jesus will be that king returning to establish the kingdom here on earth. And so that's kind of the story of the king and his kingdom. And so if the question is, well, who is the king? The king is God, right? God is king, and that's the preeminent way the Bible portrays God throughout the scriptures. And the question is, well, what is the kingdom? The kingdom then is everywhere and everyone over which God holds domain. And then so where we closed out this past Sunday, as we went to week 1 of our series, is then where is the kingdom of God? And we acknowledge that the kingdom of God today is invisible, but it runs alongside our world, and it is very, very real. And in fact, God's kingdom, God's invisible kingdom, is not some shadow of our world, but it's actually the opposite. We in our world are in fact the shadows of the kingdom. We're the ones that have been tainted and sin-scarred, and we're the imperfect reflection of what God's kingdom looks like. And it's only because we get glimpses into God's kingdom that we have any reason to have hope at all. And so that was a quick summary of the idea behind this series, and I'm looking forward to developing it more over the course of the coming weeks. But for this week, where I'd like to leave you is to consider, how does my understanding of God primarily as king, ruling over his kingdom, change or affect how I view him and how I respond to him today? I think that is what we're going to wrestle with over the course of the next 3 weeks, but it's one that I wanted to sow into your minds and sow into your hearts today so that you can be thinking about it and meditating on it. I appreciate you all, Saints. Appreciate the opportunity that we have to teach and serve you, and pray that you guys have a wonderful week. God bless.